Pasuk says, Kiner mitzvah v'toira oyer. In every mitzvah, there are two parts. There's the part of the mitzvah, that's the kiyum ha-mitzvah. We just had now 8 days of kiyum ha-mitzvah midrabanon, of lighting the menorah. Pesach, you have a kiyum ha-mitzvah of eating matzah, sukkah, sitting in the sukkah. And then there's the chelek ha-Torah, which means learning the Torah about it, whether learning the halachas, learning the gemaras, the lamdas, learning the Torah about the mitzvah. The mitzvah itself, you could only be makayim in the time of the mitzvah. You could only eat matzah leil Pesach. You can't eat matzah during the year. However, the limud Torah, you can learn on Pesach. You can learn mitzvahs yeshiva sukkah. You can learn masachta sukkah. But as Hashem, right after Chanukah was starting now, masachtas yuma, speaking a lot about Yom Kippur, and Yom Kippur is in more than a half a year, so more than half a year. You can learn the limud Torah. You can learn any time of the year. So I want to speak b'siyata d'shmaya this morning, a topic on Chanukah. Now, really, it's already after Chanukah, but it's going to be a topic that's relevant not just in the chelek halimud Torah, but also in the Maisa. The Shulchan Aruch in Siman Tafrei Shayin Zayin, Zok the Shulchan Aruch Sif Daled, Hanoiser b'yoyim hashmini min hashemen, the leftover oil. What do you do with the leftover oil after Chanukah? Zok the Shulchan Aruch, Oiselay medura, you make a fire, v'sarfa b'fnei atzmi, you burn the wicks, you burn the oil. You burn the oil. Yeah. Taka Baruch Hashem, there's a fire over here yesterday, today, Sunday. The Shulchan Aruch says you're supposed to burn the oil, the leftover oil after Chanukah. You could have done it yesterday on Chanukah also, but we could speak about it. It's negeah for some people that didn't get a chance yet to clean up their menorahs and they have the oil. It's negeah for right now as we speak. To burn the oil, the Shulchan Aruch says, Oiselay medura, it's a din mefurish in Shulchan Aruch. Oiselay medura, and you burn the oil. The Bir Halacha says that it's only the oil that are in the cups, in the glasses of the menorah. We're not talking about the oil in the bottle. You pour oil from the bottle into the menorah. That bottle, you don't have to burn. That oil in the bottle. But the oil in the cups of the menorah, that you have to burn. What's the makor for this? It seems to be something that everybody's makbid, seemingly, a lot of people. What's the makor? It's not a Mishnah, it's not a Gemara, it's not a Tosefta. It's a Shiltus. It's a Shiltus from the Goinim that says to do it. That's the makor. And the emes is that it's already a Medrash. The Medrash Tanchuma says this din of Oiselay Medura. The Medrash is on Parshas Nosai, on the Kriya of yesterday. By Yoim HaShmini Nasi Levnei Menashe, says the Medrash, Yilamdein Rabbeinu Neir Chanukah Shehoiser Bar Shemen B'Yoim Rishon. We're not going to go into it, use it for second day to the third day. Then it says, Avol Hoiser B'Yoim Shmini Oiselay Medura B'Fnei Atzmai. Yeah, you have to burn the oil. Why do you have to burn the oil? Lama kivin shehuktzah lemitzvah. It's huktzah lemitzvah. The oil was designated to be used for the mitzvah. So mainly it's asal l'shtamish from it. So mainly you have to get rid of it. You have to burn it. The Medrash continues. A very interesting Medrash, and I want to focus on this for a little bit. The Medrash here, when it says this din that you're supposed to burn the leftover oil, says the Medrash like this. Lo yoymar adam. A person shouldn't say, Eini Mekayim mitzvah zakenim. I don't want to be Mekayim the mitzvah of zakenim, dahainu mitzvah derabanan. Why? Why don't I want to be Mekayim mitzvah derabanan? Hoyo ve'ina min ha-Torah. I don't want to be Mekayim mitzvah derabanan. I don't want to be Mekayim mitzvah derabanan. Says the Eibush, the Omar lahem HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bonai. By kids, you can't say that I'm not going to be Mekayim mitzvah derabanan. Ela kol ma shegoyzrim aleichem. You have to be Mekayim, because it says al pi haTorah sheyerucha, and you have to lo mashafal devei mani maskim. You have to be Mekayim even mitzvahs derabanan. Frek the Asvan de Reisa, on this piece, the second piece that I just said, that the Medrash says, Yochel, a person could say that I'm not going to be Makayim Mitzvah Rabbanon, Talmud Loi, but you have to be Makayim Mitzvah Rabbanon. He asks two questions, two simple questions. Number one, why does the Medrash say it dafka by Chanukah? It could have been a piece in the Medrash on the pasuk of Asisa Kal Asherucha, on the pasuk where the Torah says Saser, you have to listen to Chachamim. Why is it plugged in over here by Chanukah? Why is it dafka by Chanukah? Is it something connected to Chanukah? These many mitzvahs to Rabbanon. These Zayin mitzvahs to Rabbanon. These are machlokes. It's interesting. What exactly are the 7 mitzvahs? But why dafka over here? Maybe the Medrash could have said it by Ner Shabbos. Is also a mitzvah to Rabbanon. Now you might tell me that we have to pick somewhere. We have to say it somewhere. Say it kloliistic, so we pick the mitzvah of Chanukah, right? One of the Zayin mitzvahs, so that's what the Medrash says it over here. But the question is, why does the Medrash say it in such a roundabout, in a halacha, in a prat din in Hilchos Chanukah? I would have said it on the mitzvah of Chanukah. There's a mitzvah Medrabanan to light neiros. Yochel, that I'm going to say I don't want to mekayim the mitzvah Rabban of lighting neiros Chanukah. Talmud Loime says the Rabbeinu Shalom Banai. You have to listen to Chachamim. But it's interesting, in a prat din over here, legabe, leftover oil, not to burn the oil. You don't want to burn the oil. Talmud Loime, you have to do it. Why would, even if you're going to tell me that the Medrash is picking one of the Zayin mitzvahs, but it should be speaking about the mitzvah itself of lighting the menorah. Why is the Medrash zoom in to a particular halacha, mamash even not even a prat din, but even after the mitzvah, the leftover oil you have to burn? To answer this shaila, we have to make a little bit of akdam over here. There's a yesod from the nesivas. Could be it's even fear to say it's a famous nesivas. And if it's not famous, you'll know it now. Big yesod in the chiluk, the fundamental difference between something that's aser midoraisa to something that's aser midirabanan. I'm not going to go into what the nesivas is going on. The Shulchan Aruch is explaining what a shach. I want to just stay focused just on the pointer of the Nesivas HaMishpat. He says that a Isidai Raisa, the Torah asers to eat, let's say a Isser Achila, asers the person, you're not allowed to eat something that's aser. But 1 second, Rabbi, 1 minute. That's already the husband in the Nesivas. I skipped a step. The Nesivas says like this: a Isidai Raisa, as we know, if you're over b'shoigig, you need a kapara, right? You're over an issa deraisa b'shoigig, you bring a chatos. Mashegin issa derabanan, you don't need a kapara. You don't need a kapara. Somebody that's over an issa derabanan doesn't need a kapara. What would be an example? What's being over an issa derabanan? Let's say a issa achilas arla b'chutz la'aretz is derabanan. So if somebody eats arlas chutz la'aretz b'shoigig, doesn't need a kapara. If somebody eats arla in Eretz Yisrael, b'shoigig, issa deraisa, you need a kapara. Issa derabban, you don't need a kapara.
What do you do then? Someone eats arla chutz la'aretz b'shoigig, they realize, what now?
You don't need a kapara. The Nesivas is speaking about in regard in Choshe Mishpat, in regard to owing money if you sold the Isuri Achila Mederaisa, Medrabanan, it was eaten already. But b'yesoida, you don't need a kapara. You don't need a kapara.
Is it like a mini chasidus to still pay or something like that, or no?
So the money part, the Shulchan Aruch says you don't have to pay. Really, I'm not going to go into the prati dinim. It's neigeya if it was eaten already. If you have to still pay back, that would be a chiluk. But technically, if you ate it already, anyways, so what would be the money? You sold it and you ate the payers. The chiluk is if it changed in price. Al Kapanim says in the Nesivos a clear chiluk between a deraisa, the rabbanon, deraisa you need a kapara b'shoigig, the rabbanon not. Explains Reb Shimon Shkop and Shar Yosher, and he says the following: what's the chiluk taka between a deraisa and the rabbanon? and the Olam could see it inside. You can't just, it's not on the fly, it's in Perek Zayin, and right in the beginning of Perek Yud as well. And he says like this, he says, when the Torah answers something, the Torah answers the person to eat the arla. That's the Isser HaTorah. Zoomed into that chayfetz. The Torah answers you to eat the arla. Even if you ate it b'shoigig, you were over on the deraisa because the Torah said don't eat arla. Ma'ashe'inkin by an Isser D'Rabbanon, by an Isser D'Rabbanon, when the Torah tells, when the Chacham say not to eat arla schutz la'aretz, and even though these are deraisa, the Torah says listen to Chachamim. What you need, the lav is not to be over on what the Chachamim said. You with me? When the Torah says don't eat arla, so the Torah is saying don't eat arla. When the Chachamim say don't eat arla, the reason why we can't eat arla is because we have to listen to what the Chachamim said. And even with the Raisa, the Torah says listen to Chachamim. Memela, that's the chilek if you need a kapara or not. If by a deraisa the Torah said don't eat arla, you ate arla, even though it's b'shoigig, you have to need a kapara. Ma'ashegen by an Isser D'Rabbanon, the Chachamim said something, you have to listen to Chachamim. If you're over on the Chachamim, it's a problem. B'shoigig, what did you do b'shoigig? You're a shoigig, so you did not listen to Chachamim. By the Raisa, it wasn't a chutzpah that you didn't do, but at the end of the day, the Torah says don't eat arla, and you ate arla. By the Rabbanon, whatever the Rabbanon tell us to do or not to do, the Chachamim just say, they said don't eat arla, but we have to listen to Chachamim mitzad, listening to them, and even the Deraisa of us, you have to listen to the Chachamim. Listen to them. So b'shoigig, you were a shoigig. You didn't not listen to Chachamim.
Why can't you say by deraisa the issues on the arla itself?
Oh, very good, very good. So I'll tell you like this. We're going to get to this. Moiridik. That's how we're going to see the asf and the deraisa looks. Very good. Moiridik. That is a different way to learn. I always understood Pashas, that's Pshan and the Nesivis. We'll get to that mamash in a minute, a different way how to learn, but I learned it over a few times. I may be mistaken. I think it's Klar in the Shar Yoshi. He's saying that it doesn't say anything, a word about Isik. We'll get the other way. The Kol Azar Satoira Ika Hazahora Al Etzem Amaisa. When you're over, you're not over because you have to listen to the Kollel, and you weren't over not to listen to the Kollel. Rabbi Chanan also says like that in Kovetz Aris, this Yesoid, to be mavir that the chilek is, let's take a see over there also, if he also doesn't say that.
Also, I'll be say, there is such thing as, I don't know, anything deraisa being from like kripa, from like, you know, so it itself has an isser, al pi say, not al pi nikla, I'm saying. So there's an isser on the actual.
It's chal on the chayfet, so we're going to get to that in a minute. That's a different way. The reason I'm saying this with Torah Sagdam is to bring out this yistayt, and then we'll see why it's relevant right here to Chanukah. If it's chal on the chayfet, it's very good. Rabbi Chanan also says, when Nira to explain this nesivis, be'isser d'Rabbanon, there's no isser mitzad atzma to eat it. The isser is, or the chiyuv is l'shmoya l'divrei chachamim. V'kiven she'asa b'shoigig, you were shoigig and you're not over al divrei chachamim. Fine. However, in Asfen de Reiser, Rabbi Yosef Engel brings from Achroinim, he doesn't say that's Pshan and the Nesivis, you could understand that Pshan and the Nesivis. He says the chiluk between the Issa de Reis and the Issa de Rabbanon is Poshet. An Issa de Reis, when the Torah says you're now allowed to eat Chazer, it's an Issa Chefza. The Chazer is Aser. Ma'ashe'inking, when the Chachamim say you're now allowed to eat something with the Issa de Rabbanon, Arles Chutz Laretz, it's not, the chayfetz is not Aser, there's no Issa Chefza, it's an Issa Gavra. The person is not allowed to eat because he has to listen to Chachamim. A little bit different than what we said before. These are difference. The Raisa to Isser, the Chayfetz becomes Aser. Masha'enkein, when Chachamim say the item doesn't become Aser, the Chachamim tell you, you're not allowed to eat Arla Derabanan. And Memela, if we stop right here, that's Pshat and the Nesivus. Issa de Raisa, if you're over on an Issa de Raisa, even B'shoyik, at the end of the day, you ate the Chayfet Shal Isser. It's Chazer. Masha'enkein by Issa de Rabbanon, if a person eats Arla de Rabbanon, the item is not Aser. The Isser is, you have to listen to Chacham. Chacham said, don't eat it. Okay, you were a shoygig, but you didn't eat a dover or aser. Issa de Raisa, it's chal and the chayfetz. Issa de Rabbanon, it's not chal and the chayfetz. Lefi this, what comes out? A moiri de gechilik, also legabe mitzvah. And you'll tell me after we finish this, if I think we're touching upon what you're saying. By mitzvah would be the same nafkamina. When the Torah Kedosha says, do a mitzvah with an item, a shofar, a lulav, this kedusha chal and the chayfetz, and ad kedei kach, that reflects a halacha that the shofar is huktzah mitzvasa. Rosh Hashanah, the shofar is not muktzah b'choil. However, means you're allowed to move it. However, you're not allowed to use the shofar for something not of the mitzvah. Shabbos, when you don't use the shofar, we spoke about this once in a shiur, so it's muktzah because you're not allowed to blow on Shabbos, but you could use it, let's say, gufay mekaymai. And Yom Tov, you're not allowed it because it's huktzah l'mitzvasa. Masha'enkein, a mitzvah d'Rabbanon would not be chal on the chayfetz, just like by Isser. Just like we said by Isser. When the Torah says don't eat chazer, becomes a chefza shal Isser. When the Chachamim say don't eat arle d'Rabbanon, it's just, you have to listen to them. So the same would be the other way around also. When the Torah says do a mitzvah, it's chal on the chayfetz. When the Rabbanon say do a mitzvah, it's not chal on the chayfetz. You have to listen to Chachamim. However, this would be klar pshat and the nesivus. However, zok the asvan der Raisa, I have a kash on this. You can't learn like this. That is a chilek gavra and chefza by the Raisa der Rabbanon. Why? From this Medrash, that's why we brought this whole discussion in. From this Medrash. If you learn that an Isser der Rabbanon is not chal in the chayfetz, not an aveira and not an Isser, then there would be no reason to burn the oil. It's not chal in the chayfetz. Who told us to light menorah? The Chacham told us. So if it's not chal in the chayfetz, then why do you have to burn the oil? The Chacham said, do a mitzvah, but the Kedusha is not chal in the chayfetz. Ela al karchach, he says that it is chal in the chayfetz. It's chal in the chayfetz even by the Rabbanon. But then you have to, he's going lamaisa de loika achroinim. You have to know, is he completely arguing on the nesivus, or there's a different way to understand? But la'or, what he's saying is there is no chilak between a mitzvah deraisa or a mitzvah derabanan. Saya mitzvah deraisa, saya mitzvah derabanan are both mitzvah and isar chal in the chayfetz. So when the chacham say light menorah, it's not just that telling you to do an act, to do a maisa. It's chal in the chayfetz. The menorah has kedushas menorah, and therefore you have to burn the oil. Memela, we began a few minutes ago. Rabbi Yosef Engel had two kashas. Number one, why is it dafka by menorah, by Chanukah? And number two, this end of the Medrash, yochel, that I'm not going to listen to Chachamim. And va'oi, the Medrash, we asked, even if you want to tell me we picked one of many, but why is it by a prat din of just the oil that has to be burnt? Says Rabbi Yosef Engel, what we just said, it's moiridik. This is a fundamental yesoid to all mitzvahs derabanan. Yochel, a person could say, I'm not going to listen to Chachamim. Talmud loymar, you have to listen. But the pshat is when the Torah says to listen to Chachamim, it's like the Torah, and it's chal kedusha in the chayfetz, it's chal isser in the chayfetz, and that's why you have to burn the oil. if you wouldn't, it wouldn't be chal in the chayfetz, you wouldn't have to burn the oil. So that's what the Medrash, I was explaining why the Medrash comes here into this halacha of burning oil. We're holding now Matzah Chanukah, and we're speaking about the halacha, the din of burning the oil, that the Makor is already a Medrash, but the Medrash says, I want to explain to you, why taka do you have to burn the oil? Why? It's only a derabanan. The teretz is, about the Medrash is yochel, that I'm not going to make the mitzvah b'chlal, but the reason why the Medrash picks right here is because the Medrash is bringing out a point that even a mitzvah or a issa derabanan is chal in the chayfetz. Just to conclude, we began with a din in the Shulchan Aruch, which we said the Makor is a shiltus and ready in a Medrash, to burn the leftover oil. To burn the leftover oil. This Shulchan Aruch, the Makor is already a Tur, that the Tur says to burn the leftover oil. Frekti Bais Yosef, I have a stira. A stira is a Tur. One place the Tur says that you have to burn the oil, right in Tafresh Ayin Zayin. This is the halacha that we began with. However, in Tafresh Ayin Bais, the Shulchan Aruch says you can do whatever you want with the oil. The Tur. In Tafresh Ayin Bais says the Shulchan Aruch, Vim nasam ba yoser, this extra oil, yochel lechaboyse la'achar she'avar hazman. Stamadin, you could put out the fire, put out the ner Chanukah. V'chein yochel l'shtamash lo'ira. Akaponim, after, once it's done, you could do whatever you want. So frekte Bais Yosef astira. Does the oil become aser? Does it not become aser? In the Tur, which we said the Makor is a Medrash, it becomes aser. You have to burn the oil. You have to make oiselay medura. And here the Shulchan Aruch says you could do whatever you want with the oil. Stira as frekte Bais Yosef. So first, the Bais Yosef brings a teretz from the Maria Buav. The Maria Buav says that the Shulchan Aruch and Sibin Tafresh Ayin Beis that says that you could be nehener from the oil is talking about that you made a t'nai that you're not going to use the leftover oil, that you're lighting tak, you have a big cup, but I only want to use 30 minutes of it for the mitzvah. Well, once I'm done with the mitzvah, I'm going to put it out, or if it goes out, I only want to be makzel and mitzvah the first 30 minutes. So over there, says the Tur, any leftover oil afterwards, you could do whatever you want, because it wasn't hooked to the mitzvasa. Which, by the way, says Rav Shlomo Zalman, avada t'nai is not going to help for the first 30 minutes. In other words, if you want to be safe and you just don't want to get into any issues about the oil, and you're going to say, I'm not makzel mitzvasa, that's impossible. Because if you're doing the mitzvah, it's hooked to the mitzvasa. But you could say, I only want it for what I need the mitzvah, I need the first 30 minutes. Masha'ink in the Shulchan Aruch and Tafresh Ayin Zayin is talking about that you didn't make a t'nai. And Memela, all the oil is aser. Yeah, but it's aser afterwards at the 8th day, la'achar the 8th day, you have to go and burn the oil. That's the Maria Buav's teretz. The Bais Yosef himself says, V'li nira, that's his lashon. V'li nira l'chalak, says the Bais Yosef, a different teretz. Nothing to do with Tanai. The first 30 minutes, if it goes out within 30 minutes, that oil is aser. After 30 minutes, it's not aser. If you take a look in the Shulchan Aruch, that's taka we paskin. Nothing to do with Tanai. Pashat is a chiluk between the first 30 minutes and after 30 minutes. Meaning to say, if you are menorah, you lit every single day, or let's go with the 8th day, and all 8 neiros burnt for 30 minutes, then you don't have to take the oil and burn it. You could throw it out. Avada napaderach bezoyin. There's a way how to discard tashmishik mitzvahs napaderach bezoyin. You know, just toss it into the garbage. But you don't have to. You don't have to burn it. You only have to burn it if it went out during the half hour, and that's takala halacha, which it comes out to Bais Yosef's much more makel. Lafida Bais Yosef, if all your neiros burnt kedas or kedin 30 minutes, whether you put it out or whether it got blown out, and these leftover oil, you could throw it out. And that's la halacha. La halacha lekula. It's a moira de gesagt. We spent today the whole morning with a Medrash explaining about burning it. You only have to burn the oil if the nair went out within the first 30 minutes. If the nair didn't go within the 30 minutes, you don't have to burn it. The Shulchan Aruch Taka Paskins like that Lamaisa. That Shulchan Aruch that we began the Shiur today, Hanoisa b'yoyim hashmini. Says the Shulchan Aruch, min hashemen hatzorich l'shir adlaka. The hainu left over from the oil that you need lahadlaka. The hainu the first 30 minutes. Oh, over there is oisulay medur b'fnei atzim v'sarfai. But avada once it burnt for 30 minutes, you could throw it out. However, the Chafetz Chaim over here brings, on Tafrei Shayin Zayin, he brings the Shita, like we mentioned before, the Maria Buav, that even more than a half hour, if you didn't make a Tanah, you should burn it. And in the Tafrei Shayin Bais, he brings it even a little more. He says, Toiv lahasnois. My Chavrusa told me this morning, he said that he saw that somebody sent out, put on the status, it's toiv before the 8th night when you fill up the neiros. Toiv lahasnois. It's better to make it tonight to say that you only want to be makzeh the first half hour, which comes out, and with this we're concluding, which comes out very clear. A person didn't make any tanai. He lit the menorah the 8th night, and it burns for a half hour. The neiros, he does not. This din of oislei medura beikra din the Shulchan Aruch is not applicable. However, l'tchatchila, if he didn't make it tonight, these are l'tchatchila, that he should still be makayim the din of oiselei medura to burn the oil. Have a wonderful Shabbos.
Good.